Good evening, and welcome to California Confidential Files, the show where we pull back the pristine curtain of Northern California's tech elite to expose the darkness that often lies beneath. In a world driven by code, data, and ruthless efficiency, human emotions can become a liability. Love, jealousy, betrayal, they're all just messy variables in a clean equation. And sometimes, to solve a problem, some people believe the only answer is to simply delete it. Tonight's case is one of the most chilling we've ever covered. It involves two brothers. One, a titan of the biotech industry. The other, a sensitive artist. And at the center of it all, a beautiful woman, a forbidden affair, and a secret that threatened to shatter a billion-dollar empire. This is the story of a sister-in-law who had sex with her brother-in-law and was then, in the coldest terms imaginable, logged out permanently on the eve of a new year. It's a case that forces us to ask what happens when the logic of a machine is applied to the chaos of the human heart. So, if you're intrigued by what happens when the firewall around a perfect life is breached, you'll want to stick with us. And if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the conclusion to this story is one you have to see to believe. Now, let's go to a stunning home in the hills of Sausalito on the last night of the year, where a fatal error was about to be executed. The 911 call came in at 10:15 a.m. On New Year's Day. The voice on the line was controlled, almost robotic, betraying only a hint of strain. It was Alex Hayes, the celebrated CEO of Elysian Labs, a biotech firm on the verge of a multi-billion-dollar IPO. He stated, in precise, clipped tones, that he had returned home to find his wife, Maya Hayes, unresponsive in their home yoga studio. Detective Kenna Sharma felt the chill of the morning fog as she stepped out of her car and onto the heated stone driveway of the Hayes residence. The house wasn't just a home, it was a statement, a breathtaking structure of glass, concrete, and redwood cantilevered over the Sausalito hills, with a panoramic view of the bay that was probably worth more than the entire police department's annual budget. Inside, Alex Hayes was waiting. He was tall, impeccably dressed in expensive athleisure wear, and his face, though pale, was a mask of controlled composure. He looked less like a grieving husband and more like a man dealing with a severe and inconvenient system crash. "She's in here," he said, his voice devoid of tears. "I haven't touched anything. I know the protocol." He led Sharma through the house, which felt less like a home and more like an art gallery curated by a minimalist computer. The air was cool and still. In the yoga studio, a serene space with floor-to-ceiling windows facing the fog-shrouded bay, Maya Hayes lay on a pale blue yoga mat. She was beautiful, dressed in white yoga pants and a matching top. Her eyes were closed, her face peaceful. There were no signs of violence, no disarray. It looked as though she had simply lain down in Savasanathi corpse pose and never gotten up. The paramedics said it looked like a sudden aneurysm, or cardiac arrest, Alex stated, watching Sharma with intelligent, analytical eyes. "She was perfectly healthy. We had our annual physicals last month. Her biometrics were flawless." Biometrics? Who talked like that about their dead wife? Just then, a man burst through the front door, his face a mess of tears and disbelief. He was younger than Alex, with the same sharp features but softened by a mess of dark, curly hair and the haunted eyes of an artist. This was Julian Hayes, Alex's younger brother. "No, no, no," he chanted, rushing past Alex and stopping short at the doorway of the studio, his hand flying to his mouth. Maya, his grief was a stark, chaotic contrast to Alex's icy control. He crumpled against the doorframe, his body racked with sobs. Alex watched him with an expression that bordered on contempt. The initial hours of the investigation seemed to support the theory of a tragic, natural death. But Detective Sharma was a creature of instinct, and her instincts were screaming that something in this sterile, perfect house was fundamentally wrong. She waited for the ME's preliminary report, came back that evening and changed everything. It wasn't an aneurysm, the medical examiner told her over the phone. Her heart just stopped. But we found something in the toxicology screen. Trace amounts of a highly unusual potassium ionophore. It's a compound designed to disrupt the electrical signals in cardiac cells. It's incredibly sophisticated, metabolizes almost instantly, and leaves almost no trace. This wasn't natural causes, Kenna. This was murder. A very, very smart one. A smart murder pointed to a smart murderer. Sharma's focus immediately intensified on the two brothers. The cold, logical CEO and the overwrought, emotional artist. The first step was to crack open Maya's life. Her phone and laptop, like everything in the house, were locked down with advanced encryption. But Sharma's tech team was good. After 2 days, they broke through the firewall, and what they found blew the case wide open. Buried in a secure messaging app under a folder labeled Inspirations, they found a conversation, not with a stranger, but with a contact labeled simply J. It was a torrent of secret communication. Hundreds of texts, photos, whispered confessions of love. The affair was passionate, intense, and deeply forbidden. J was Julian Hayes. The texts confirmed he had been having an affair with his brother's wife. The photos were intimate, stolen moments of joy, the two of them laughing on a hidden beach, their heads close together in a dimly lit jazz club in the city. The last messages were sent on the afternoon of New Year's Eve. Maya, I can't do this anymore, Jay. Tonight, living this lie, is eating me alive. Julian, then don't. Tell him. Or let me. We can leave. Tonight. Just say the word. Maya, I'm scared. He's not like us. You don't know what he's like when he loses control. Julian, he doesn't control you. Let me come over. We'll face him together. Maya, no. Not tonight. He's at the Atherton Foundation Gala. Let me just get through tonight. Tomorrow. Tomorrow we change everything. The motive was laid bare. A classic, tragic love triangle. Sharma brought Julian in. His grief had subsided, replaced by a sullen, defensive anger. Yes, we were in love, he spat. When Sharma presented him with the printed-out texts, he didn't even try to deny it. Is that a crime? Alex didn't love her. He owned her. She was just another one of his perfect acquisitions. Like the house, the car, the company. I made her feel alive. He just monitored her. Where were you on New Year's Eve, Julian? I was at a party in the Mission District, he said. My friend's annual NYE bash. I was there all night. He provided the address and the friend's name. It was a verifiable alibi. You wanted her to leave your brother, Sharma pressed. She was scared. Did you get tired of waiting? I would never, ever hurt Maya, Julian said, his eyes flashing with a sincerity that felt genuine. I loved her. Alex is the one you should be looking at. The monster in the $1,000 suit. The case seemed to point squarely at a crime of passion, but the murder method was cold and calculated. It didn't fit Julian's emotional profile, and he had an alibi. Sharma felt like she was missing a key piece of data. She sent her tech team back to work, this time with a specific target. The smart home system. I want to know every single thing that happened in that house on New Year's Eve, she ordered. Every light that went on, every change in temperature, every door that opened. The report came back late the next night. Most of it was mundane. The system registered Maya moving through the house, ending in the yoga studio around 9:30 p.m. Then, nothing. Until 10:47 p.m. At that exact time, the log showed a single anomalous event. The French door leading from the yoga studio out to the secluded Zen garden was unlocked manually. It remained unlocked for precisely 1 minute and 52 seconds, then was relocked. It was a digital ghost, a fleeting breach in the system's security. Where did the command originate? Sharma asked the tech analyst. The analyst pointed to a line of code. It's encrypted, but the command signature is unmistakable. It came from a remote device authorized as Admin 1. And who is Admin 1? The analyst looked up, his expression grim. There are only 2 authorized admin devices on the Hayes network. Maya's phone, which was on the yoga mat, and the other, he paused, is Alex Hayes' corporate work laptop. Sharma felt a jolt, a static charge in the air. But he was at the gala. His alibi is perfect. His body was at the gala, the analyst said. But at 10:47 p.m. on New Year's Eve, his laptop, using the gala's secure Wi-Fi network, sent a command to unlock his wife's door for 2 minutes. The image was suddenly terrifyingly clear. Alex Hayes, the grieving husband, standing in a room full of the city's elite, a glass of champagne in one hand, while with the other, he was remotely, silently, opening a door for a killer. The cold, detached husband wasn't just a suspect anymore. He had a digital fingerprint at the scene of the crime. The smart home log was a digital smoking gun, but Detective Kenna Sharma knew it wasn't a fatal bullet. Not yet. She sat across from Alex Hayes and his lawyer, a man with the sleek, predatory look of a Silicon Valley venture capitalist. The interrogation room felt like a boardroom, and Alex was treating this like a hostile negotiation. The log shows your laptop, connected to the gala's Wi-Fi, sent a command to unlock the door to the room where your wife was killed. At the time she was killed, Sharma stated, her voice flat and even. Explain that. Alex didn't flinch. I can't, he said, with an air of sophisticated reason. It's an anomaly, a glitch. Our home system is a beta build of Elysian's new Aura platform. It's not public yet. There are bugs. His lawyer slid a thick folder across the table. This is a sworn affidavit from Elysian Labs' head of software engineering, confirming a known vulnerability in the remote access protocol. This is a list of over 24 high-profile witnesses, senators, CEOs, tech luminaries who will testify under oath that my client did not leave his table at the Atherton Gala for more than 5 minutes at a time, and never with his laptop. The digital evidence is circumstantial and, as you can see, easily explained by a system error. It was a perfect, hermetically sealed defense. They had anticipated the digital trail and built a firewall of plausible deniability around it. Sharma knew she was right, but Alex's alibi was a fortress. To breach it, she needed to find a weak point. And the weakest point in any system built by Alex Hayes was his emotional, volatile brother. She brought Julian in again. His grief had now curdled into a sullen, simmering anger directed at the world. Sharma decided not to attack, but to flank. Your alibi, she began. The party in the mission. Your friend says you were there. I told you, Julian said defensively. He also said you disappeared for about an hour, Sharma continued softly. Around 10:30 p.m. He thought you'd gone for a walk. Julian's face went pale. The first genuine crack appeared in his composure. I needed some air. The party was too loud. An hour is a long walk, Julian, Sharma said. It's about a 25-minute drive from the mission to the Sausalito Hills. Give or take. Leaves you about 10 minutes there and 25 minutes back. The timing fits perfectly. I didn't go there, he insisted, his voice rising. I just walked around. He was lying. The hole in his alibi was a gaping wound, and he had no way to stitch it up. But Sharma still didn't have the weapon. To get that, she went back to the source. Elysian Labs. Armed with a new warrant, her team descended not on the lab itself, but on its digital heart, the internal servers. They waded through terabytes of data, research papers, and corporate communications. And then they found it. A chain of encrypted emails sent 3 weeks prior between Alex Hayes and his head of chemical research. The subject line was Project Chimera, Urgent. In the emails, Alex commissioned the urgent synthesis of a novel, fast-metabolizing potassium ionophore for what he claimed was an off-the-books cardiac cell experiment. He stressed the need for absolute discretion. He had used his own billion-dollar company, his own brilliant scientists, to forge the perfect, untraceable murder weapon. He had the means, the access, and the motive. But why the specific timing? What was the final trigger that pushed him to act on New Year's Eve? The answer lay back in the digital ghost of Maya Hayes. Sharma's tech team had been working around the clock on the final, most secure layer of her personal cloud storage. It was a digital vault protected by 3-factor biometric authentication. But Maya had made one mistake. She had backed up her encryption keys to a file hidden inside a folder of yoga playlists. They found it. They opened the vault. And there it was. A single document in her draft folder. An email. It was addressed to Alex Hayes. It was time-stamped as saved on the afternoon of December 31st. And it was scheduled to be sent automatically at 9 a.m. On January 1st. Sharma read the email, and the entire case snapped into horrifying focus. Alex, I am writing this because I am done speaking in code. I am done being a variable in your equation. For the last 6 months, I have been in love with your brother. A real love, not the kind that can be quantified in an annual report. He makes me feel like a person, not a possession. I am leaving you. I am going to build a real life with Julian. And there is something else you need to know, a fact that cannot be denied or optimized away. I am 2 months pregnant, and the child is Julian's. My lawyer will be in touch tomorrow to begin the proceedings. Consider this my official resignation from our marriage. Maya, the pregnancy, that was the final, fatal variable. The murder wasn't just about infidelity. It was about legacy. It was about the utter humiliation of his perfect narrative being destroyed by his own brother. It was a hostile takeover of his bloodline. And Alex, a man who monitored everything, must have had spyware on his wife's devices. He must have seen the email draft. He must have known he had only hours to act before Maya logged herself out of his life forever. It was time to execute the final program. Sharma brought both brothers back to the precinct, placing them in separate interrogation rooms. She was going to decompile their conspiracy, line by line. She went to Julian first. He looked broken, exhausted. She didn't come in with accusations. She came in with the email. She slid a printed copy across the table. I know about the baby, Julian, she said gently. The effect was instantaneous and absolute. Julian stared at the paper, his face crumbling. A wave of grief so profound it seemed to suck the air from the room washed over him. He finally understood the stakes. He finally understood what he had lost. He told me he wanted to help her, Julian choked out, the confession tumbling out of him, unstoppable. He called me, from the gala. His voice was so calm, so logical. He said he knew, about us, about the baby. He said Maya was unstable, hysterical, that she was a danger to herself. He didn't sound angry. He sounded concerned. Alex had played his little brother like a violin. He had proposed a solution, not a murder but an intervention. He told me to go to the house, Julian sobbed. He said he would unlock the door remotely. All I had to do was go to the garden shed. He'd left a water bottle there. An electrolyte drink, just like the one Maya always had after yoga. He said it was a new sedative from the lab. Harmless. It would just calm her down. Make her sleep, so we could all talk it through in the morning, like a family. Julian had been the pawn. The delivery system. Convinced he was saving the woman he loved, he had driven to the house, slipped through the door his brother had opened for him from miles away, and swapped her water bottle. He had delivered the poison to his lover's lips. Sharma left Julian weeping in the hands of a uniformed officer and walked down the hall to Alex's room. She entered, her face an expressionless mask. She laid out the photos one by one. A picture of the Elysian Lab's chemical request. A copy of Maya's email. And finally, a signed statement detailing Julian's full confession. Alex Hayes looked at the evidence arrayed before him. He processed the data. He analyzed the new reality. And then, for the first time, his icy composure changed. It didn't crack with guilt or remorse. It was replaced by a look of chilling intellectual pride. The look of a creator admiring his own flawless code. He always was the weak link in the system, Alex said, his voice calm, almost conversational. Too emotional. Too many bugs. He confessed. But it wasn't a confession. It was a debriefing. He explained his actions as if he were outlining a business strategy. Maya's affair wasn't a betrayal. It was a breach of contract. Her pregnancy with Julian's child was not a family crisis. It was a hostile takeover of the Hayes family legacy. a direct threat to the company's IPO and his meticulously crafted public image. His wife had ceased to be his partner and had become a fatal system error. "You don't fix an error like that," he explained, looking directly at Sharma. "You don't negotiate with it. You isolate it and you delete it." It was the only logical solution. He showed no remorse, no grief. He had simply identified a problem that threatened his perfect world, and he had eliminated it with cold, ruthless efficiency. He hadn't murdered his wife. He had rebooted his life. Alex Hayes was convicted of first-degree murder. His chilling, detached confession, played for the jury, sealed his fate. He received it not with emotion, but with a quiet nod, as if accepting the logical outcome of a failed venture. Julian Hayes, for his role as the unwitting instrument of death, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter, his life destroyed by his own love and gullibility. The final scene returns to Carter in the Silicon Shadows studio. The screen behind him shows the stunning Sausalito house at dusk, its smart lights glowing with an eerie, automated warmth in the encroaching fog. "In the world of Alex Hayes," Carter says, his voice low and somber, "love and life were just data points. When his wife's data became corrupted, he didn't try to fix it. He simply hit delete." It's a terrifying reminder that in a world that increasingly worships the cold logic of the machine, the greatest danger lies in forgetting how to be human. Alex Hayes didn't just kill his wife, he tried to erase her. But the truth, unlike data, can't be deleted, can only be buried, and it always finds its way back to the surface. The camera pushes in on the house, now dark and empty, a silent monument to a devastatingly modern tragedy, a ghost in the machine.